you find out that businesses again want to extend financial services to their employees, but they don't want to provide the funds. So this is a way that we are coming in to, once we have, verified earners, we can then extend or expose them to providers, financial providers, services providers, to then extend these services to them. So these are just the things. So we look to help businesses keep smiles on the faces of their employees, because our program has now, shown us how AI is actually being done, and then we've looked at it on Azure and seen that this is actually the way to go. Flapmax has really opened our eyes to so many things that we were keeping on the back burner. So the Flapmax has more or less accelerated our growth, and things that we're looking to build in the future, we are now looking to get them wrapped up. So we've grown, I would say 30-40%. We've experienced that growth since at least the last 2-3 months. This was it was something that was not happening before FAST.
Can you tell us your name and background, and then the company's name as well?
Like you said, my name is Lekon Motosho. So my background, I'll just make it very brief. I had a brief stint with the banking sector in the late 2009. I graduated from the computer science department of University of Ilorin. Had a brief stint with the bank, and then realized that banking was not a thing for me. So I moved into the technology sector, but primarily focused on the public sector. Okay. Yeah. Then I founded Multipart Integrated, also a private sector focused on the public sector in Nigeria. And they built some interesting products, for the federal and the state government of Nigeria. Yeah, then founded Pade, co-founded Pade CM in 2020. Yeah.
Okay, so you're one of the few companies that was created by COVID. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, we like to say that actually the lines that started blurring. So I'll just use that to tell you about Pade. Pade is a technology company that helps businesses hire, manage, and pay anyone, anywhere. We are building Africa's largest database of verified earners via payroll and HR, end-to-end HR and payroll technology. So prior to COVID, the lines have started blurring of the physical and remote work, and we had started looking at that space. And then looking at our background as well, built several business automation products. So COVID came around, and then it immediately became very clear that this sort of product was going to be very attractive to businesses, to be able to hire employees from anywhere, and then pay them in whatever currency. So that was pretty much what brought about this idea.
That's great. Thank you. Your solution is unique, and I can tell you it's a solution to rival. It's genuine, and it's something that really gives value. With the way remote work is working, it's going all over the world. People want to be borderless about payments. People want to be borderless about recruitment. We've seen all of that working. We've seen a lot of people working from home. And Pade HCM just happens to be the right solution in our belief. And that's what motivated us to even select you as part of the 12, startups. And we're well justified. We can see the value in what you're doing. Well done. So we would just move forward, and we'd love to talk about a few things, just for people to know, have a deeper dive into the whole conversation. In what industry would you say your company is doing business? Okay. Of course, you have told us the motivating factor. So in what industry is your company's operation?
Yeah, so that's it. I'll say HR tech.
Okay, that's great.
And then we have a little bit of fintech too, because we have a wallet service that enables you pay integrated into Flutterwave, fully integrated into Flutterwave. So which means everywhere Flutterwave can make payments, we can make payments as well. That's so we're tightly knitted and coupled.
That's great. So you are leveraging on a particular platform to sell more value to the people. That's interesting. So which United Nations Sustainable Development Goals would you say you're addressing with your company?
So I will fit into quite a couple, but the main one, I'd say the goal number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. Because we believe that when a company is able to focus on strategic work, and then we take care of HR tasks and these things that are repetitive. Then again, we connect employees to financial value-added services, which makes the life of everybody easy, employer, employee, and then we believe that this leads to economic growth. So I'll say we'll fit into that perfectly.
That's great. All right. So you support basically small and medium scale enterprises at a very large, bulk solution system. Okay. So we would just move further to talk a bit about something that is very dear to us and very dear to you, and that's the meeting point upon which we're here. That's the FAST program. So, what would you share as part of your experience? How did you hear about the FAST Accelerator program?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one for me because, FAST came about at the time when we were looking for, audience, we were looking for media presence and all of these things. So then I saw the invitation to apply, and what actually caught my eye was the fact that it was in partnership with Microsoft. So we are Microsoft through and through. Our solution was already hosted on Microsoft Azure, built on Microsoft.NET Core framework, the latest technology and all of that of Microsoft. So when I saw it, I told my co-founder that we have to get into this. And then we applied. Interestingly, we got the email, and it was a very good one because to have been selected among 850 or thereabout, to be among the 12 selected, then it means that you're doing something right. And it was just more like a validation thing. And yeah, so I'd say it was a very good one. And I must say, you guys are doing a very, very, impressive work. You guys should keep it up.
So much for passing that note of commendation to Microsoft and to Flapmax. What's your experience with the masterclass, the facilitators, the staff of the FAST program itself?
I'll be very honest. I remember when we got the invitation for the first class, it was for 4 hours. I was like, how am I going to be able to do this? Because we're running a very lean team. We are still running a lean team. To be able to juggle that with sustaining the business, it was it looked like a very Herculean task. But when we started having the classes, honestly, all of that was history because they were very educative. And then one thing I'd like to say again is, the facilitators, they delivered because most of the things, were things that we had already known, that we practice on a day-to-day basis. But we realized that, to be able to move forward and, to be counted, among the few that are actually making waves in this sector, you have to be able to present these things in a formal way. And these were just the sort of things that they put across to us. So they were very, and then I like the idea of the Learn platform as well, where okay, if you are not able to maybe attend the master class, then you can still maybe at your leisure time or when you're free, you can still go through this video. So we're very impressed.
That's great. That's great. I would then look at it from this perspective. FAST Accelerator is a program that is there to us. It has made all the traction, made all the impact, like we keep on hearing from here and there. And it's now an envy of startups. It's something they all want to get into. And we're very excited about the feedback we get from you. But I would just like to say, as FAST Accelerator in any program, in any way, helped your brand to grow as it expanded your brand reach, as it's giving you some sort of traction, growth, or progress?
Absolutely. So before FAST, we were just there, So from the, I remember, getting a couple of, DMs on Twitter, even a couple of extra colleagues reaching out that, they saw us, So it just pretty much, opened us up to, the world really. So yeah, because FAST in partnership with Microsoft is not something that you want to, not take no cognizance of. So yes, it has been very good for us, and it has also helped us expand because you just find out that before now, we have we know who has visited our site. We have all of these analytics and all of that, and then you find out that those things increased after this after we got accepted into this accelerator, and then people have even created accounts, and then we've been able to close deals. From that end.
That's fantastic. Well, we're very, very, very glad to hear this kind of value that the program is giving. These are real value, and these are all the intendments of the program between Flapmax and Microsoft. So we're going to have a deeper dive a little about some of these solutions, and you're going to really like it because as a tech guy, I believe it's an area you like. So are you able to leverage on artificial intelligence solution, or do you plan to leverage it in your growth plan? And how is the Flapmax technical team supported your journey with this?
Yeah, I must say again that Flapmax has really, opened our eyes to, so many things that we were like keeping on the back burner. So the Flapmax has more or less like accelerated, our growth and things that we're looking to build in the future. We are now, looking to get them wrapped up, at the immediate. So I remember when we were applying for the the Flapmax program, there was something about AI. Do you do anything on AI? And we said, yeah, we are pretty much functions. We do stuff that are pretty much self. So more or less like they are self-driven. So you don't really have to make an input and then just based on trends, the system could predict some of these things. But that was at a very low level. But then the program has now shown us how AI is actually being done, and then we've looked at it on Azure and seen that this is actually the way to go. So because you will agree with me that we are in discussions to be able to leverage on the technical assistance that we're going to get from you or we've been getting to be able to predict future outcomes from historical trends of data that we have. So this is the way that we want to go really, to be able to fast track
data is the next oil.
That's correct. It is.
Okay, we're quite excited about all what you've been doing with the AI, with Flapmax team, with Microsoft Azure, and we can assure you that more progress will come, more growth will come to the both sides. I can assure you of that. So we would like to come back to the FAST program and say that what's your advice to founders and a word or two for the Flapmax Microsoft team? I mean, you can tell us all the accolades you would like to pass it, but first go with your advice to the founders.
One advice is the current founders or future founders?
Both.
Okay. So I'd say, yeah, for future founders, the master classes are one never to miss. They are very educative, very, instructive, and then they pretty much even help you to do things, the right way, really. Let me just put it that way, for want of a better word, really. So I'd say everything that is being, rolled out in the future, founders should participate. Founders should make sure they are fully. I remember we were broken into class, different classes at a time to take. So I mean, it's something that I advise founders to really participate in. Accolades. I mean, I can't give you enough accolades, really. Because you give belief to startups, because when you come around and you say, Microsoft, this in partnership with Microsoft, it's something that anyone wants to be a part of, and then it helps you to reach out to the global audience, basically. So it helps fast track growth because 3 months ago, we were nowhere close to where we are now. So I'd say, yeah, you guys have done a fantastic job. And I know, even the relation, access to marketplaces and these things, pretty much just accelerates growth. So just like the name implies, accelerator. So you guys are actually doing just that. And then, yeah.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate the feedback, which are very candid. And I mean, it just spurs us to do more. All right. So we would come back a bit to your brand. And we'll be wanting to know what you've told us. What are your core services and products? Okay. You mentioned, but I mean, we just wanted to go at it again.
Okay, so we're Pade HCM, that's human capital management. So we pretty much take care of employees from onboarding to exit and everything in between. So talk of performance management, payroll, leave, loans, all of these things. You can pretty much do everything from the Pade portal. In addition to this, we extend financial services to employees. That's verified earners, of course, to be able to. So you talk of things like loans, salary advances, savings and investments, even early wage access. All of these things. They are. So the possibilities are endless. So these are just the things. So we look to help businesses keep smiles on the faces of their employees, because attrition, when you are unpaid, then you find out that attrition, is almost reduced to zero because employees are happy. And then the business, you find out that businesses again want to extend financial services to their employees, but they don't want to provide the funds. So this is a way that we are coming in to, once we have, verified earners, we can then extend or expose them to providers, financial providers, services providers, to then extend them these services to them. But in the future, we want to be able to do these things, end to end when we have the capacity. I'm talking of financial capacity here. So yes, but for now, we take a percentage of transaction, and then expose. I also want to mention that we're API led. Yeah, so we're the first API led HR product. I'd say in Africa, because you find out that the fintechs are the ones that want to do API because you want to embed financial services into these things. But we went a step further because we found out that when we talk to companies, we find out that it's a deal breaker because most companies are already with, some of them anyway, not all, because there's still a lot of untapped businesses really. But you find out that they say, oh, we're already on the platform, and then switching costs may be high. So what you can then do with our API is you can just take a portion of Pade and integrate into your existing system. It could be a legacy system, or it could even be the platform of one of our competitors, and then you can still create more use Pade and exchange data. So it's a very we like to make noise about it
very
because
robust, and that's a
it's a major one for us.
Usability, functionality that you have, and I can tell you that this is a good thing to take to the market.
Thank you.
I think we need to make more noise about Pade.
Exactly. Thank you.
We need to make more noise about Pade. Really.
Thank you.
So would you say that you've had any, since FAST program started, any breakthrough deals, announcements that you want to let us know about, or maybe you've grown your customer base from A to B?
So what I'd like to say about that is, we've grown month on month. So most of our breakthrough deals actually came at the early, parts of our, where we first rolled out our MVP. The first customer that we got was a 2,000 staff company, and it actually overwhelmed us. We had to go back, take a lot of feedback from them and make product better. We're very stable now. So, but since we got into FAST, we started seeing traction in the sense that you just find out that even unsolicited, deals, they just, reach out to you and be like, oh, what? And you just know that they'll be like, oh, we saw you on the internet, and this was, it was something that, was not happening before FAST. So we've grown, I'd say 30-40%, we've experienced that growth since, at least the last 2-3 months. That's so really I'm excited for what the future holds.
That's really impressive. 30-40% that means a huge traction growth. And we're very excited for you. We know more will come very soon.
Thank you. We can't wait.
Okay. So we come into Africa and come into the challenges in the eco space across country. Would you, care to mention any specific challenges that you identified starting HCN that is peculiar to Africa and maybe the country operates in Nigeria? And I mean, what has been your experiences leveraging on your self-drive motivation to come through this, and how are you addressing it?
Thank you. Excellent question, really. So it's common knowledge in Africa, so we're more or less like playing catch up, for want of a better word, really. So you find out that internet is a challenge. In fact, even before now, it was very tough to build a cloud-based solution because people like, no, networks. So you have to consider so many things. When you are pulling data, you have to optimize it as much as possible such that, there are no latency and all of these things. So these are things that we put into consideration. Then when you now come to policies, it's another thing, government policies. We've seen in time past where, you've seen people build businesses and then the government just comes over and be like, we're banning this thing and all of that. So these are just things that, we've kept in our mind, security as well. But we're unfazed because we feel like if you are building something of value, you would always, find a way, really. And so just a few things to mention.
Thank you. And I'm sure with what you've mentioned and the way you appreciate it, you're going to definitely skate out of any challenge.
Thank you.
Where do you see Pade HCM in 3-5 years? Where do you intend to be, and what's your plan for growth?
Okay. Yeah, excellent question too. Thanks. So I'd say, so with or without us, we know that in 3 to 5 years, like you mentioned, businesses are going to be able to hire, anybody from anywhere and pay them, manage and pay them really. So we want to be there we want to be at the forefront of, we want to be top of the list of companies that, will be providing these services. We also understand that, in 5 years' time, employees are going to be very happy because they are going to have access to tons of financial services, where they can then focus on what really matters, which is work. And lastly, I hope that in the next 5 years, we're going to have been able to, connect hundreds of thousands of employees to financial services in Africa.
Really
helping thousands of businesses along, the way within our portfolio.
That's really great.
That's the vision.
These are very, achievable vision you've set out, and we pray, and we're very sure, convinced that we'll give you all the support you need from the Flapmax, the FAST team, and Microsoft is ever ready to support SMEs as part of their growth plans to support all sort of SMEs, driving businesses all over the world and Africa in particular. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It's been great, and we are very excited to see you come up on this very fantastic journey.
Thank you very much.
We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Cheers.